It says fast for 303. The 303 is actually closer for non-classified.
Okay, I get it, okay? I said that the new Sporter 303 British rifle is classes 5 through 9. I get it, it's wrong. It's 4 through 8. Everyone knows that. Well, here we are again, back at the Parque Fernando bow range here, but it's a great place to shoot off some rifles, so here we are with the new 303 FL Sporter Burnished. The FL Sporter 303 is a rebuilt military surplus rifle and a great option for medium to large game. If it needs some scrubbing up to make it like new again, that can be a very satisfying project, and once you're done, you will have a rifle that's great both for hunting and target practice. The bolt action is smooth, reliable, and easy to cycle quickly. That is very true indeed. And if you put it up next to the M1 and the Eckers 30-06, which are kind of the other rifles a lot of people use in this range, you're going to find out that it is quite a weapon here. Let's take a look at the attributes right here. First off, the FL Sporter 303 has an accuracy of 55, a recoil of 64, and a reload speed of 49 with a hip shot of 67. But I don't really care about hip shot because I never do it. Magazine size of 5 rounds. That is pretty good. 5 rounds right there. Let's compare this to the Eckers 30-06 Elegance. All right, 30-06 Eckers compared, he's got accuracy of 35, recoil of 80, reload speed of 49, and we're not going to even worry about hip shot. Magazine size of 4. So already we lost a round in the magazine size. We lost 20 accuracy. That is incredible. We lost 20 accuracy there. The recoil has gone up by 16, reload speed is the same, and we lost 1 round in the magazine. So yeah, the Eckers is quite a bit worse, honestly, than the new Sporter 303, to the point where you might as well not even use it. I mean, there's really no redeeming quality to the Eckers 30-06. Which is unfortunate. You know, it was a really nice rifle and I liked using it because it had a great sound to it, which we'll hear here in a bit. Looking at the M1 now, same as the last, accuracy of 35, recoil of 82. My goodness gracious, even more than the Eckers. So we're looking at an increase of 18 on the recoil, reload speed of 49, same, magazine of 5. Now, obviously, the biggest difference we're going to hopefully find out is if the M1 has such a fast fire rate that it's going to be better, or if it's even controllable with the 30-06 Eckers and the FL Sporter 303 racing against it. And we're going to take a look at accuracy. Obviously, there's going to be a little room for error. I'm going to try my best to shoot as many bullets as fast as I can, as accurately as I can, and we're going to count out the scores, and we'll just see how we do. But before we get into those races, I want to take a look at this new 303 FL Sporter here. Let's just take a shot and look at this. I mean, look at that rifle. That is really cool looking. You can definitely tell it's kind of an old rifle, but that is really cool. And the reload, we'll check out the reload right here. Loading in that mag. I was really hoping to have that exposed mag at the bottom, but that is okay, and the iron sights just are very, very cool. So that is really cool. The 303 FL Sporter is a good looking gun, that is for sure. Now to get into the racing, to compare, we're going to, of course, I won't know the times until after I do the recording and I'm able to look at the time, so that'll be a little bit of a mystery to me. It will be really interesting. First off is the Eckers 30-06. Now I expect this to be the worst. It has high recoil, got the bolt action, so that's going to be slower here. Pretty close shot. Four shots down. Obviously can't do a 5th shot, so that's already at a disadvantage there because there's no 5th shot, but we'll have to see what the time is for those 4 shots and compare it to the 4 shots on the other rifles. Let's look at the M1 Garand. Now we expect this one to be the fastest one out of all of them, obviously. Let's take the scope off here. We have the M1 sights, obviously. All right there, I was clicking as much as I could to get that thing to fire as fast as possible. So there we go, there's the M1, a good time on that one. And now let's take a look at the new FL Sporter here. Let's look at this bad boy. I will have to say, I think this has to be the slowest of the other two. Of course, we did have that 5th bullet there, which helps in comparison to the Eckers, of course, but I tell you what, it is just a slow reload. But I'll tell you, does it matter when you can use that time to reacquaint yourself on the target? I mean, that was nearly 5 bullseyes in a row. And the M1, we can go back to the M1. Here we go here. I mean, you can fire really fast, but you can't use that speed and still aim at the bullseye directly. So that is good to see. I mean, you can obviously time out your shots, but with the recoil the way it is, there we go. Pretty close to 5 bullseyes there. I will be interested to see what the time is there in comparison. All right, we're going to kneel now, and we're going to compare all of the rifles at this red deer target out here. So, starting off with the Eckers, let's try and get... I'm going to go as fast as I can, but trying to get the best score possible. So here we go. There we go. Right there. A couple of them were on the edge, but it was pretty close. And now let's look at the M1 Garand. Same thing. I'm going to aim for that bullseye as close as I can. 5 shots in a row. There we go. 5 shots in a row as fast as I could do it. I'll be interested to see what the time is in comparison to the Eckers. Obviously, the recoil plays a factor as well as the semi-auto, so we'll be interested to see what the timing difference there. Now, lastly, we have the new 303. Let's take a look at this. Now that was kind of interesting. My timing actually was off. I expected to be able to shoot there, and because I didn't, it actually ruined my sight. Let's try this again, see if I can get it a little bit. Same thing there. I went to click again, trying to keep that rhythm going, and it didn't fire when I was hoping it would, so it kind of ruined my aim. But we got most of them there in the bullseye. That was pretty good. All right, it's the next morning. I'm editing all of this, and I can go through all the times now because I have them all down in my hand right here. And I have to say, I'm kind of eating my words here. I really thought that the recoil of the M1 was going to be so much that even with the semi-auto, I thought that the 303 would pull ahead as far as accuracy and time goes. Both times I tried that darn 303, something in the timing messed me up both times, and I don't know. Something was up with it. But yeah, let's go through the times now. Looking at the iron sights, comparing the iron sights and shooting them accurately. I know that I did the M1 twice, both inaccurately and accurately, but let's look at this here. First up, the Eckers iron sights. Now this was 4 seconds and 48 milliseconds. Now with the milliseconds, I'm really saying frames of the video. This is a 60 frame video, so it was 48 frames. So we're looking at 4 seconds and 48 milliseconds there, 48 frames. And this is how I'll be comparing everything here. The M1, same thing, 4 shots, 3 seconds, 43 frames afterwards. So 343 there, and 5 shots at 441. So that's pretty crazy. Looking at the 303, 434 for 4 shots, 602 for 5 shots. So yeah, it's unfortunate that we can't check the Eckers for 5 shots, but yeah, I mean, already out the gates on the irons there, the Eckers is out. It's slower than the irons of the 303 and the M1, and only has 4 shots. Really, the Eckers just has no redeeming quality, like we had said after reading the attributes. Looking at the scope, though, of the Eckers scored 05:37, so 5 seconds, 37 frames afterwards, which is okay. 5 seconds for 4 rounds, I guess that's all right. M1, same time, 4 rounds, 4 seconds, 14 frames afterwards, 414. 5 shots, 531. So basically a second a shot there accurately. Remind you. Looking at the 303 here with a scope, 419 for 4 shots, 603 for 5 shots. Now, remind you, I did have, that was my last time where I stumbled on the last shot there. The timing was off. So where it looked like I was doing a second a shot with the 303, the timing was off on that last shot. And so you can tell that after 4 shots, I was at 419. And then for some reason on the 5th shot, it actually took like a whole 2 seconds almost to do that last shot there. And that's because I clicked and then I had to reacquaint myself on the target and shoot that last shot. So yeah, I know there's a little bit of inaccuracy there. We scored 39 points on the Eckers. We scored a whole 50 points, 40 out of 40 and 50 out of 50 with the M1, and then 49 out of 50 with the 303 as well with 5 shots. I think what's interesting is that even though there was like a 20-point difference of recoil between the 303 Sporter and the Eckers and the M1, we're really not noticing too much of a difference there. I mean, if anything, it's coming down to milliseconds of difference between them, to the point where between the M1 and the 303, I mean, that was only 5 frames of difference with those first 4 shots there, and that was a bolt action versus semi-auto. So I think what we can tell is, you know, as the M1 was intended, when you're using iron sights, you can actually acquaint yourself pretty well, but when you have to use a scope and shoot at a distance, it seems to be pretty similar to other bolt action rifles, where you're having to use that time in between your shots to reacquaint yourself with the target, and with a bolt action, you can do that while you're cycling your next round. So although my timing was off on my 5th shot of the 303, I do think it would have been closer if around 540 something on the last shot there, and so that would have been pretty close, I think, between the M1 and the 303, 4 shots and 5 shots using the scoped rifle. So interesting findings. I tried to make this as scientific as possible, though I have no doubt that someone could shoot faster than me with these rifles and still get the same scores, if not better scores, so there's always that, but I think this is still pretty good findings. I think the M1 will be cutting out the 303 as far as timing and accuracy is involved. It will be interested to see what the difference is at longer ranges, if that accuracy of the 303 actually plays in as a factor at longer ranges versus the M1. Maybe there's something to do with the drop of the rifle cartridge. That could be interesting. And speaking of rounds or cartridges, we should probably compare the cartridges between the different rifles, because we didn't do that in the very beginning. Although very similar, there are a few differences between these different rounds. The 303 British polymer tip has an effective range of 150 meters, penetration of 40, and expansion of 12. And if we compare that to the 30-06 polymer tip bullet there, and I'm pretty sure this picture is outdated because I think the effective range is also 150 yards there, but the penetration is 40 and the expansion is 11. So there is 1 point of difference on the expansion there. The 303 is a little more powerful than the 30-06, so that is a little interesting there. Moving on to the 303 British soft point bullet, it has the effective range of 150, again, penetration of 20, expansion of 53. Now, if we compare this to the 30-06 soft point bullet, the effective range is 150 again, the penetration is 19 this time, so 1 point down, and the expansion is 50. So you lost 1 point of penetration and 3 points of expansion in comparison to the 303. Say what you will about the different rounds, I think they're all going to act pretty similarly, but there is a very few points of difference between the two of them. It seems like the 303 just barely edges out the 30-06 as far as the Hunter Call of Wild is concerned. What do you think you'll be adding to your loadout? Both of them weigh 3.5 pounds in the Hunter Call of Wild, so it doesn't make much of a difference as far as how much they weigh. For me personally, I think I'm going to stick with this 303. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and not being someone who likes to use semi-autos in real life, I think I'll stick with the classic bolt-action rifle. I really do like it, and I think it's an absolute sledgehammer on this New Zealand map. I mean, it absolutely destroys most of the animals on that map. But I'm eager to see what all of you think. Comment down below, what will you be adding to your loadout? Like the video and subscribe if you haven't already while you're down there. Really appreciate it. Eager to see what you all think about this on December 10th as well as early 2021, which is the release dates. Join us for our live streams every Monday at 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Central, as well as Thursdays on Twitch, same time. Hope to see you there. Lots of fun, everyone. Take care, happy holidays, and as always, remember everyone, we're one planet, one family, game on.